드디어 세 개의 가이아 코어가 맞나? 가 모였습니다.
The old ones use holograms for everything.
왔어.
It is good to see you again, Aloy. I see you have recovered Demeter.
힘들었다고. 바다 건너서 왔다는 애들은 동양 쪽을 얘기하는 건가? 아니면 섬나라를 얘기하는 건가?
Aloy. With the acquisition of Ether, Poseidon, and Demeter, my heuristic processing density has expanded greatly. I should now be able to absorb Hephaestus, and fortunately, we have made progress on a plan to capture it. With Varl's encouragement, Beta analyzed all available information on Hephaestus. Its expansion has been rampant. It is too large to be beamcast, and the kernel you have been using could never hold it. Therefore, it must be contained in a location with a direct physical connection to me. A place with 2 data cores.
2 cores. Where would we find a place like that?
Gemini.
An abandoned cauldron in the desert west of here. Seismic activity disrupted the original construction. 2 data cores were built as a result.
I know that place. It's near the Desert Clan's capital. We'll have to bring you there by hand.
I have devised a blueprint for a suitable, albeit unwieldy, transport rig. It will require 2 people to carry it to Gemini.
I can help.
Once I am installed on the first core, I will call down Hephaestus on the other, trapping it. I will then initiate the merge. However, in order to construct the rig, I will need considerable help.
Can you build it? I suppose I could, but it's not gonna work. The Zeniths will find you. Minerva won't be able to conceal your location.
That is correct. Absorbing Hephaestus will create a significant power surge, easily detected by anyone capable of noticing.
But what if there were multiple power surges? To fake out the Zeniths? If Erend, Zoe, and Katalo spread out to the other cauldrons and create their own surges, would those conceal the one at Gemini?
Analyzing. Such a tactic might be effective. With Beta's help, we should be able to build a set of handheld pulse generators.
I told you it's not gonna work. I did a test. Hephaestus has written Alpha clearance out of its access module. You'll never be able to capture it. Then we need a higher level of clearance. There is no higher...
Ted Pharaoh's Omega clearance.
The one he used to purge the Apollo database and kill the Alphas. But to get it, you would have to find Thebes. The private bunker he retreated to when the world ended, and nobody knows where that is, not even the Zeniths. Their only intel was that it was somewhere in San Francisco. That might be all I need. Alva, the Quen diviner I met, said her people had set up a base at Landfall. They were searching for data in San Francisco from there. She might be able to help. So I guess I'm headed all the way west. While I'm gone, will you be able to build the rig and the pulse generators?
I'll try.
I'll make sure she has what she needs.
과거의 씨앗 완료했습니다.
Ferry on the coast that they used to get to the ruins of San Francisco. That's where I need to go.
자, 기술 포인트 드디어 한번 사용해볼까요? 퀘스트가 이거긴 한데 이 퀘스트가 드디어 떴죠. 2절 이것도 떴고요. 아이고. 그리고 왠지 요 근처에도 뭔가 뜰 것 같은데? 안 되나요? 아, 여기까지 가야 되는구나. 8호의 지하무덤. 요 아래도 있을 테고. 여기 미확인 가마솥도 있고요. 여기다도 하나 있고. 가마솥이 저 두 개가 끝 아닌가? 그랬던 것 같은데. 내가 아까 갔던 장소가 여기죠? 여기는 뭐 사람이 없어가지고 뭐가 안 뜨네요. 대화를 좀 해볼까? 8호의 지하무덤.
I have managed to unlock an additional room near the servers.
Understood.
좋아서 8호의 지하무덤. 레벨이 26이에요. 이제는 뭐 서브캐들이 훨씬 더 레벨이 높습니다. 비명의 절벽? 일단 사이드 요거를 해놓고 대화.
Hey, Gaia. Me again.
또 왔어.
Welcome back, Aloy.
하위 기능 데메테르.
Have you been able to make use of Demeter's functions?
Yes. I was able to mitigate most soil conditions and restore a temporary balance. You should notice less rampant plant growth in the area.
Maybe that'll give Plainsong's fields a chance to recover.
Unfortunately, recovery in that area is unlikely without the assistance of the Utaru's land gods. I have discussed this matter with Zoe. I believe we may have a workaround.
Yeah, I'm helping her out with that.
데메테르.
There's something I'm still trying to figure out. Why was Demeter using flying machines to distribute metal flowers?
In its deranged state, Demeter was defending itself against a robotic swarm that would devour all plant life.
It thought the Pharaoh Plague was still happening?
It feared it would come again. As part of its directive of reseeding Earth's vegetation, it sought to protect plant life at all costs. And considering it had 20 years to proliferate, I expect you will continue to find the fruits of its efforts for some time.
That's a good thing I have the code to dissolve the vines, then.
제니스에 관한 질문. 제니스의 정체.
The Zeniths. Gerard, Eric, Tilda, Verbena. Beta said they were some of the most powerful people on Earth.
이건 들었었죠?
I think Elizabeth knew one of them. Tilda. Did she ever mention her to you?
No. Elizabeth often spoke of her work, or told stories of her mother and her childhood. If she knew this Tilda, she did not disclose it with me. What we can conclude from your and Beta's experiences is that the Zeniths are ruthless in pursuit of their goal. To protect life on Earth, they must be stopped.
그렇군요. 우리의 진행도 베타.
Beta's convinced we won't be able to capture Hephaestus. With that attitude, do you really think she'll be able to build the rig and pulse generators?
It may take some coaxing, but with some assistance I am confident she will.
I don't get her, Gaia. She's so quick to assume we'll fail. She's nothing like what I thought she'd be. I guess it'll be best if she stays here when we go to Gemini.
얘는 베타한테만큼은 굉장히 베타적이군요. 쟤한테 왜 이렇게 날카롭지? 동료.
All this data I've picked up in ancient bunkers and ruins. I guess I never really thought that other people would be looking at it.
Based on my observations, your companions engage quite frequently with this material. Erend has asked on numerous occasions about birthday parties. He appears perplexed by the tradition of serving a sweet confection, as it conflicts with the Oseram tradition of serving sparkling stout ale. He also suggested we host a party for you, as a surprise.
Yeah, no thanks.
That is what I predicted.
예언가예요. 동료 다시 한번.
Is Katalo getting along with everyone?
Yes, though he prefers to spend most of the time alone. He appears to be collating data on war machine progression and significant battles during the Pharaoh Plague, to aid in the creation of a war map of Operation Enduring Victory. I believe he aims to study the tactics of old world warfare.
I'd be interested in seeing that.
It appears to be a private pastime for him. He has repeatedly declined my offers to assist his research.
헤파이스토스를 포획할 계획.
So our plan to capture Hephaestus. Let's go over it again.
As you wish. Thanks to Beta's test, we now know that Hephaestus will not respond to your Alpha clearance, which is why you will need to procure Ted Pharaoh's Omega clearance.
Right. From his personal bunker, Thebes.
While you are gone, I will assist Beta in building the transport rig and pulse generators. When we get to Gemini, I will need to be installed on one of the facility's cores. The second core is for Hephaestus. Using Omega clearance will allow you to trap it.
And then you'll be able to absorb it.
Not quite. You will need to manually remove Hephaestus's malicious code before the merge.
How long will that take?
There are calculations I still must run, but I estimate a few hours.
And during that time, the others will create a distraction for us using the pulse generators, right?
Correct. They will each take position at a cauldron door and fire off their device. The energy surge should mask our activities until the merge is complete.
And then we'll have everything we need to defeat the Zeniths. Sounds like a plan.
생물계의 상태.
So now that you have Ether, Demeter, and Poseidon, how's the biosphere looking?
In the local region, conditions have improved. Superstorms have subsided. Water sources have been purified, and soil conditions remediated. These improvements will stave off environmental collapse for a few additional months.
Well, with luck, soon you'll have Hephaestus. Then you'll be able to fix the biosphere for good, right?
Correct. I will be able to design and produce robotic agents to permanently reverse the environmental damage that has accumulated.
오메가 클리어런스.
There's something I've been wondering. How could Ted Pharaoh create a clearance level higher than Alpha? Elizabeth made sure he wouldn't interfere with the project.
It is plausible he tasked his own engineers with creating a back door to the Zero Dawn system, without Elizabeth's knowledge. My predecessor did not even know of its existence until he activated it to purge the Apollo database. It is, in effect, a blind spot, one that will allow us to subdue Hephaestus. And fortunately, thanks to Beta's information, we know where Omega clearance may be procured.
Right. Somewhere in San Francisco.
옛 세계에 관해서. 재민이.
So Gemini has 2 data cores. I've never seen a cauldron like that. But you mentioned something about seismic activity?
When my predecessor attempted to build the cauldron, construction was disrupted by a series of earthquakes. The data core had already been built, but the rest of the facility sustained damage. So, she began again. A second core was built. However, when more tremblers occurred, she abandoned the site.
Lucky for us. Are the quakes still happening?
No, though they did also create instabilities in other facilities in the region.
옛 세계의 발견.
So the facility where I recovered Demeter used to be a Pharaoh agricultural research facility. It's where they created the biomass conversion system, but also adamantine wreath. Did Elizabeth know they were working on that?
It is likely she was briefed on other efforts to combat the machine swarm, though her focus was devoted only to Zero Dawn.
That makes sense. But they actually got the wreaths to work. If they've been able to deploy it against the Pharaoh Plague in time,
Using the data you recovered on the project, I ran several simulations and have concluded that it would never have worked. In all scenarios, the Pharaoh war machines would eventually hack and deactivate the wreaths before they could contain the swarm.
so Zero Dawn really was the only solution. There was a lot of data in the greenhouse facility about agriculture. Do you think it'll help the Quen fix their homeland?
I will run a query. Complete. The data contains information about novel crop production methods, which may be beneficial to the tribe in the long term.
But new crops aren't going to save the world, so I guess it's on us.
It is.
그렇습니다. 현재 위치.
I found some data in one of the rooms you unlocked. It mentioned that there are still functional seed banks beneath this facility. Why is it there?
My predecessor was tasked with reconstituting the biosphere with primary and secondary plant species. Had everything gone according to plan, humans would have eventually been able to introduce tertiary species, including new crops.
Can we access them now?
Unfortunately, it will have to wait. I require control over the machines in order to access and distribute the preserved seed stock.
And for that we need Hephaestus. It's something to look into later then.
저걸 나중에는 하게 되겠죠?
I'll be on my way.
I wish you safe travels.
왜 여기는 검정 배경이 나올까 자막에? 특이하단 말이야. 특이하단 말이야. 안녕. 잘 지내고 있어?
Forget all. That's just I hear about you going west.
Turns out we need one last thing before we can grab Hephaestus.
Because it would have been too easy otherwise.
그러게요. 훈련은
Bet you're used to that focus by now.
Well, I can hit machines in their weak points. I guess that's something. I wish all the other data was as easy to deal with. Now, to be honest, it's hard to understand half of what's on there. And then the other half reminds me, this isn't a fight you can win by just waving a hammer. Which is kind of what I do. But hey, that just means I gotta study harder. Now, make myself useful.
Just give it time. You've been looking at any interesting data?
I asked Gaia to find me something to look at a while back. And she found the mother of all forges. They called it sports. Turns out the old ones spent a lot of time tackling and punching each other for points in one game or another. Are you mixing some solid food and fresh ale? I bet half the claim will be lining up to watch.
What else have you been studying with your focus?
Yeah, I've been looking into this Vegas place you found. Gaia showed us everything that happened when you went to get that Poseidon thing. I mean, this Moreland guy seems pretty smart. Though, risking the Tanakh clan lands for a light show is a bold move.
His crew knows how to handle themselves. Mostly.
Right.
동료에 대해서
Anything happen I should know about?
Zoe asked us to help her bring more plants in here. Not for eating, apparently. Yeah, if you ask me, the place is fine as it is. Metal might be plain, but it's sturdy. Nothing wrong with that. Who needs a bunch of vegetation?
How are things with Katalo? You still scared of him?
Oh, she thinks she's funny. Actually, I played strike with him. I had to fill in most of the conversation myself, but I'm still alive.
Glad to hear it.
안녕.
I need to get going.
I think I know the answer, but are you sure you don't need any help? Gaia mentioned this other tribe you found, the Quen. They sound like a nasty bunch.
I can handle them. In the meantime, Varl will help you get ready for what comes next.
Take care of yourself, Aloy.
웬일로 얘를 찾아요, 발을. 나는 코탈로랑 같이 가고 싶은데.
Aloy, you're here. Did you meet with the Quen already?
Not yet.
After all the trouble you went through getting those subfunctions, seems unfair you have to deal with these Quen on your own too.
It's safer this way. They think I'm Sobek or something like that. They won't hurt me, but I doubt they'll be so kind to anyone else.
If you say so. Let me know if you need anything before you go.
훈련에 대해서.
You better not be slacking off on your studies while I'm gone.
And risk Zoe coming after me? I value my life. In fact, I've been reading about Ted Faro, how he destroyed the world and crawled into a hole after killing those who saved it.
He definitely was a piece of work. I hope Zoe's not upset I'm distracting you from your training.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that.
What do you mean? What happened?
Well, before Zoe found a way to fix the land gods, I suggested that when Gaia was fully restored, she could just make new ones.
Well, once we get Hephaestus, that's definitely a possibility.
That's what I said, but I guess there was something about my tone she didn't like. She got pretty raw, said I didn't understand the way her tribe feels about those machines. Which is true, of course, and the last thing I'd ever want to do is dismiss their traditions. But I was trying to look at things differently. More like you know? To see a machine as just a machine.
Yeah, I guess I led you into trouble there, didn't I?
Not your fault. Don't worry.
Did you talk to Zoe after your fight?
I suffered through a few hours of glaring silence. Then she seemed to move on. Sort of. How do people do this? How do I know if the next thing I say won't blow up in my face? What if an apology is not enough next time?
You give her a stuffed animal?
You're the worst. You know that?
What makes you think I know anything about any of this? You're on your own.
Abandoning me again, huh? Well, if she kills me next time, it's on you.
Well, Beta and Gaia built the rig. Can you get everyone ready for the mission ahead?
Of course.
What is it?
Nothing. It's just that everything's about to change. We'll get Gaia, and she'll help us set things right. No more zeniths, no more derangement. It'll be a different world. I welcome it, but I wonder how the Nora will react. And the Karja, and well, everyone.
Let's just focus on fixing Gaia for now.
You're right. We've got an angry AI to take down.
기계를 다시 하고 옛 정보나 기술들을 다시 이 세상에 퍼지게 할 수 있을까? 그런 엔딩이 있을까요? 일단 제니스.
If I get Omega clearance and then we grab Hephaestus, we might finally have the advantage over the Zeniths.
Can't wait to see their faces as they stare down a bunch of charging Thunderjaws.
Better them than us, for once. I'll be in touch if I need anything.
We'll be ready. Everyone's been briefed on the pulse generators as well.
Good.
잘 됐구만. 다른 것보다 저는 이거 내가 할 수 있는 게 있던가요? 스크래퍼 레이더. 아까 스크래퍼 때리면서 이거 됐나보다. 좋아요. 플라우호는 여전히 어렵습니다. 굉장히 어렵습니다. 얘는 사진도 안 나와. 플라우호는 만난 적이 없었나봐. 만난 적이 없던가? 기기 스트라이크에서는 많이 봤는데.
Anybody seen one of my machine strike pieces around?
또 어디를 개방을 했다고 하지 않았나요?
Oh, hope it didn't get stained.
Beta's so frustrating. I don't get how she can be so negative all the time. I mean, we're clones of the same woman, and yet She couldn't be more different from Elizabeth.
얘는 베타에 대해서 너무 부정적이야. 그럴 수도 있겠지만
Stars can also be sun.
쟤도 퀘스트가 있어서 좀 나중에 보고 베타한테 한번 가볼까? 베이타. 여기 아이템 잘 줘서 좋아요. 아이템 굉장히 잘 줍니다. 내려가는 곳이 어디? 여기. 여기가 아닌가 본데? 여기가 여기다.
Oh,
근데 새로운 대우가 없는 것 같죠?
Aloy. Hey, you got a second?
I suppose.
몇 개 있네요. 그동안 어떻게 지냈어?
So do you have everything you need to build the rig and pulse generators?
Gaia sent me the schematics. The designs are modest, without the capabilities of Hephaestus, but they should work. Not that it matters without a mega clearance.
I'll find it. Just try to have the transport ready by the time I get back.
틸다에 관한 질문. 틸다?
What else can you tell me about Tilda?
She liked to talk about her paintings.
What about herself? Did she ever talk about her life on Earth, how she joined the Zeniths, something like that?
She never said much about herself, and she hated it when I asked too many questions. But I think back on Earth, she was an expert programmer.
전에
She
물어봤던 거
built a
아닌가?
data channel the other Zeniths couldn't detect.
Is there anything else about her that we might be able to use to our advantage?
She was the first real person who ever bothered to speak to me. I wasn't really assessing her for strengths and weaknesses.
그림과 파일.
You said Tilda showed you paintings and let you access media files?
Every time we met, she showed me a new painting. I think she was Dutch. All of her favorite pieces were from their golden age in the city.
넘겨요. 예전에 봤던 것 같은데? 다른 사람들과는 잘 지내?
So have you been upstairs at all?
Not really. Varl sometimes comes down here to talk. He keeps asking if I'm okay. I thought he only wanted to know about my productivity, but it's almost like he actually wants to talk to me.
Yeah, I think he does. Have you talked with anyone else in the base?
I speak with Gaia. She asks me how I'm feeling and my opinion on various topics. I didn't expect that from an AI.
That's all thanks to Elizabeth. She believed Gaia had to care, not just follow her programming orders.
I know. Independent emotional processing enabled the previous version of Gaia to create you, after all.
Yeah. I guess so.
대화가 매끄럽지 못하죠.
So, aside from Varl and Gaia, who else have you been talking to?
Zoe told me how you met after your escape from the Hades Proving Lab. I had no idea you were severely injured. If the Zeniths had killed you, life on Earth would be doomed. My escape would have been for nothing.
But they didn't kill me. And thanks to Varl and Zoe, I was able to recover. You said you and Varl talk sometimes. What about?
He told me about your tribe, the Nora, and the proving ritual you did. I told him if I was born into the tribe, I'd never be able to do the proving.
It does require a lot of physical training, but there are plenty of other roles besides being a hunter.
I don't think I'd be suited for any of them.
Well, I guess it's a good thing you're not a Nora then.
얘는 여기 지구에 살지 않았었으니까 이 삶의 방식이
That's
받아들이기 어렵죠.
Good.
차라리 저 기계들이 더 익숙할걸. 친숙하고. 우선 저장 한번 하고.